Hello and welcome to the Agricultural Sciences presentation, specifically in Puerto Rico, made by Denise Ginas, Gabriela Orengo, and Gabriela Miranda, made for the purposes of the English 32-36 course taught by the Professor Sandra Rios, and in the following slides we're going to be talking a little more about our subject. I hope you enjoy. Agriculture since ancient times is one of the most important works around the world. And agriculture science, in addition to being based on production, is also based on the care and management of environments that can be used in our favor. Since agriculture contributes to the economy and the subsistence of the world through products of vegetable origin, livestock, and a lot of other important industries in the world. Our subject is based on the research of agricultural situations in Puerto Rico and a few ideas on how we can reinvent it and promote the agriculture in our island, because we need to start promoting and producing our own food. Through the collection of data, we want to encourage the study of this branch and agriculture is presented as a branch of study and economic contribution, which is very important in Puerto Rico. The objectives of this presentation are fostering agricultural sciences, research on Puerto Rico's agricultural status, and to give ideas to reinvent the doctrine in Puerto Rico. Key points in our presentation are agriculture sciences, agriculture economics, and reinvented agriculture. Merriam-Webster defines agriculture as the science, art, or practice of cultivating the soil, producing crops, and raising livestock, and in varying degrees the preparation and marketing of the resulting products. Agriculture affects everyone who lives in this planet, because one way or another we are affected and we are benefited by the agriculture. It does, either if you are a meat consumer, or if you are a vegetarian, or if you are vegan, it does not matter. Everything we consume in our houses is because of agriculture and farmers around the world. This is why this industry is very important and people have lost the respect for this line of work, which we think is wrong since the three of us study this industry and we love it very much. We have grown to love it and to learn a lot from it, um, because it is so important, and we need to make people realize that this is not an embarrassing job, or it is humiliating to say that you're a farmer, because if there are no farms, there's no food. That is why this is so important to us. As we mentioned before, agriculture is the art or practice of cultivating the soil, producing crops, raising livestock, and in varying degrees the preparation and marketing of the resulting products. Agriculture science is the study of this practice, and which involves different branches that you can study specifically and become a professional. These branches are agronomy. The agronomy deals with soil management and the growing of crops. Horticulture that deals with the cultivation of fruits, vegetables, and ornamental crops. Agricultural engineering involves the knowledge of farm machines and equipment. It also deals with developing new systems and practices to address problems facing agriculture. A fun fact about agricultural engineering is that in Puerto Rico, specifically in the University of Puerto Rico, where it is the only university where you can study this branch or any branch of agriculture, it is not called engineering per se. It is called agriculture machine technology, because the Department of Engineering does not allow the agriculture faculty to name it engineering, since it is not in their faculty. Another branch is agriculture economics, that deals with the business end of farming. And last but not less important is animal science. Animal science is basically the breeding and caring of animals for specific purposes, such as for their meat, milk, fur, etc. Agriculture sciences provides you with a wide, varied list of careers that you can work in after studying agriculture. And some of the careers are food scientist, food inspector, agriculture engineer, agronomist, aquatic ecologist, arborist, botanist, conservation planner, conservationist, farm administrator, fishery manager, forester, horticulturist, landscaper. You can also be a soil and plant scientist. You can be a wildlife consultant. You can work in a wildlife office. There are a lot of careers that are very important and are very fun. This is why we recommend it 100% for anyone who loves the nature and who loves the planet and would love to make a difference in the world. As we all should know, economy is the management of available resources in a determined country. But what is agriculture economy or agroeconomics? Agricultural economics is a branch applied economics that takes the tool of both micro and macroeconomics and uses them to resolve problems in a specific area, taking into consideration the demands of the people living in the specific area or in a country, the way that they are consuming. This includes percentage of fat, or if they're consuming organic or non-organic. Um, it could be if they're consuming local products or they're consuming products imported from other countries or regions. It is a very important branch and it affects a country because we think that the economy is what runs a country and is the base of every successful country. And when you mix economy and agriculture together, you have the two most powerful industries that could exist in a country. And if those if both of them decayed, then you'll have a country in crisis. Reasons to promote agriculture in Puerto Rico. The Origins of Agriculture is a very famous book that says that agriculture was created for the necessity of the increase of the amount of food, animals, and other things related in a population. The population is in an instant growth, so by default, the necessities increase, and this country or region needs to keep satisfying their population by giving them the same amount of food or the same amount of resources they are demanding. In terms of Puerto Rico is an island that needs to start being more independent with their agriculture. They need to produce more. They need to promote the local consumption of this food, and it is very important because we depend solely on the United States, but in Puerto Rico there are not one, we have a lot of different type of soils that we can basically grow almost anything that we want. And I think that if we put our heads into this, we can become a self-sufficient country. This is very important because since we depend so much on the United States, that if one day something happens with the importing system of the food, then we can't do anything. We are paralyzed and we will not be able to sustain our population, and we will enter in a bigger crisis than we are now because we can't support the population. We can't fill the demands. This industry was once very supported and it wasn't looked down upon. It was all before the industrialization. There were a lot of people working the lands. They were working with collecting coffee and the industry of the sugar canes. And this was very important, and it was a very, very, very big industry in Puerto Rico once before. And in the last few years since we started studying agriculture, we have seen that it has the the promotion of this industry has gone a lot popular since before because people are trying to realize the importance of this industry, and we really may we really need to make our voice be heard, because if not, then we're just not taking advantage of what mother nature has given us. And this is very important because we need food, we need farms, we need more jobs, we need to live, and we need to eat and produce locally. Reinvented agriculture. Agrotechnology, by definition, it's the technology of agriculture as the methods or machinery needed for efficient production. Agriculture innovations aim to improve production in terms of quality and volume of production in order to impact the economy and meet the needs of the population. Possible options for new technologies. Agriculture machinery consists in the use of tractors, seeders, and mechanical harvesters, which allows us to realize in less time all of these tasks. It allows to increase the power, speed, and quality of agricultural work. This is also associated with agriculture engineering, as we talked about before. Supplies include enhanced seeds whose DNA has been modified through the incorporation of information that allows them to acquire a characteristic that they not previously have. This is also known as GMOs, which we all know has been advertised as a negative aspect of agriculture, but it has really helped a lot of foods, and it is why, for example, we eat corn today, because corn is a genetically modified organism, and if it was not modified, we would not be eating it because it used to look disgusting and very ugly. So I don't get why people say that GMOs are negative, because they're not. Another GMO is the banana. Fun fact. There are also hybrid seeds that arise from the crossing of plants of different types within the same species, which have certain desired characteristics which combine in their offspring. Transgenic seeds, which I was mentioning before, have been genetically modified through the grafting of genes from other plant or animal species, or from the isolation and modification of their own genes and their reintroduction. Other supplies include agrochemicals, which include fertilizers that replenish the nutrients that are harvested in the soil. Its use has increased markedly as phytosanitary products that are products for the protection of crops so they don't get sick or they don't have plagues, and they can be of great quality and quantity as well. For example, herbicides, which control weeds, and weeds take the nutrients that are essential from the plant, and it makes the crop, which we want, to have less nutrients, so it's not as healthy and it will not show a great quality. And also we have insecticides, which control harmful insects, as I said before, the plagues, that also take nutrients from the plants. They eat from the plant. New sowing and planting techniques include direct plantation, diffusion of direct sowing. It is cultivated on a soil which residues of the previous crop, which allows a greater probability of fertilization. Agriculture of precision. It is a system based on new technologies and procedures that join spatial variables of tracking through maps. Requires integration of global positioning system, also known as GPS, sensors to collect data, and GIS, which is Geographic Information System. The reinvention of agriculture has been coming along since forever, since it is such an old branch, but it has never been less important. And the people who work the lands, the people who work in the offices, the people who represent the Department of Agriculture, and the people who help the country, because when you are a farmer, when you are an agronomist, you help your country, because as we talked about before, the country is based off of its agriculture, and it is very important that we foment this and that we promote it, and that we don't let on that it is a career to be ashamed of. It is not ashamed to be a farmer or to work in the field or to get your hands dirty or whatever it is that people think that it's disgraceful to be a farmer. So the Department of Agriculture has a lot of laws that protect agriculture, protect the country, and protect the people working the agriculture. And we are going to go over some few examples just so you can have an idea of how they look like and of what they talk about. Just a few, and we won't go over them too much because they are too many and they're really long. We just want you to know that there are laws that protect the agriculture, that this is not a branch that you can just like get into it and do whatever you want. It is regulated, you have rules, and you have to follow these rules, because if not, then the state or the country will not let you practice anymore, because you have to be responsible like in any other career. So the first example we have the law number 60 of April 25, 1940, which was established a long time ago, so you know that it is not new, and agriculture has been protected since way, way back. The Article 3 objective of the department states that the Puerto Rico Department of Agriculture, as a matter of public policy, will foster, promote, and develop Puerto Rico's agriculture, industrial, and commercial interest. It will also seek to manage the country's agricultural affairs as a matter of food security, and that Puerto Rico will have the necessary production to satisfy as far as possible the ordinary local consumption of our entire population, and that which is necessary in the coming times of world shortage. The production, distribution, and general availability of products such as cereals, sugar, farinaceous vegetables, legumes, eggs, milk and milk products, coffee, meat, fruit, spices, fish and seafood, and fats and oils. So, this article basically tells us what the Department of Agriculture is supposed to do, specifically in Puerto Rico, and it is very specific, and it is really efficient. The articles written, we have to promote this. We have to encourage people to learn more about our country and our agriculture in general. Another example of a law is the Law of Agriculture Tax Incentives Act of Puerto Rico. It is the law number 118 of September 24, 2004. Introduction of the law. Authorize the Agriculture Services and Development Administration, also known as ASDA, to alleviate the additional tax burdens and potential for agriculture failure on our farmers, so as to permit and encourage the permanence, development, and growth of the exemptions in favor of agriculture and related sectors need to be broad and comprehensive, so that these economic sectors of Puerto Rico are effectively enjoyed. So, this introduction basically lets us know that we as farmers, we have the support of our country, and they will help us in any way that they can. Second article of Public Politics. The law declares and establishes that all agricultural businesses has the highest priority in all matters of the government of Puerto Rico. This law establishes the public policy in favor of all agricultural businesses and for the benefit of all farmers bona fide. A bona fide farmer means any natural or legal personnel who during the tax year for which you claim exceptions, deductions, credits, or other benefits or rights provided by law or by this regulation have a current certification issued by the Secretary of Agriculture which certifies during that year was engaged in the operation of an activity that qualifies as an agricultural business. So it just tells us one more time that agriculture is by law stipulated as one of the most important industries in our country and is fully supported by our country and our government, and it is really important that we know this because it is it is so essential for our lives that we should just be proud of it and be proud to practice it. I know that we are and we will always be. To conclude this presentation, we want to repeat one more time that agriculture is an essential part of every society that can lead us to new frontiers, and Puerto Rico's agriculture has been declining from 60 years to now, and it can improve its economy by taking advantage of the great potential the agriculture has. In addition, promote that young people study agriculture, and not only young people, anybody can study agriculture. And us Puerto Ricans can reinvent the methods used in the industry and make great history as we already have, thus putting it in a higher scale of importance by making a priority out of it, which we just said in the examples that we presented by the laws in the agriculture department. We can also renovate the way of producing food by agriculture and also new ways of work and new techniques because it is so important. If anything should happen to us that we can't import anything, we should be able to support ourselves, and agriculture is a beautiful career, and it's full of it's very humbling, and it's full of love, people that love what they do, people that love each other, and people that really value the importance of working the fields. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope we helped you realize, if you didn't know already, how important agriculture is in our country and in the world. And we hope you get involved in this movement with us and help us grow.